Okay, today we're going to work on writing division expressions, and we're going to write them a little different than what you might be used to when we're doing algebra. Typically with algebra, we don't use this symbol anymore, which is called an obelus. We usually write division in a different way. So similar to what we were talking about last week with multiplication, in that side by side you multiply. So if I wanted to write 32 times b, I'd write it like that. Or I could write 3 times 7 in parentheses like that, and that means multiply. Today we're going to be writing division in a different way. So number 1 says, write an expression showing 1 divided by 2 without the use of the division symbol. When I'm writing with division, I typically write it so it looks like a fraction. And so anytime I see this fraction line, that means to divide. And that's true in real life. So like if I was trying to figure out what 1/2 would turn to as a decimal, I would do 1 divided by 2. Like this. Add my decimal and my 0. Bring my decimal up and go, how many times would 2 go into 10? The answer is 5. So 1/2 is the same thing as 0.5. Anytime you see that fraction line, it's a symbol for you to divide. If we wanted to draw a model of this, it doesn't really ask us to, but the second question asks something about a model. We would draw one hole, and we would divide it in half, and then we would be telling what one part would be. That's 1/2 of the whole thing. So the next question says, what can we determine from the model? And it would be that 1 divided by 2 is the same thing as 1/2. Okay, so now for example 2, they're asking us to write an expression without the use of the division symbol for a divided by 2. So the same thing that we were doing before, we're going to write a on the top, fraction line, and then 2. And if I wanted to draw a model of this, it'd look very similar. Except for this time, instead of this being equal to 1, it's equal to a. We divide it in half. This is a divided by 2, or a over 2. This is a over 2. When we write division expressions using the division symbol, we represent blank. I would say probably our best answer there is fractions. We're showing fractions in a different way, and we're seeing the connections between fractions and division. Asks, how would this look when we write division expressions using a fraction? So instead of putting letters or numbers or anything in here, I'm going to think of the words. We've got dividend divided by divisor is our typical way to write it with the obelus. So if we wanted to write that as a fraction, my dividend goes on top, where the numerator would be, and my divisor goes on the bottom, where the denominator would be. So it's dividend over divisor. All right, let's move on. Example 3, write an expression showing a divided by b without the use of the division symbol. So pause and do that real quick, and do a, b, and c, and see if you agree with what I write. Okay, for 3a, we've got a divided by b. That one's pretty easy. B is a little bit more tricky. Write an expression for g divided by the quantity of h plus 3. So g divided by, we put that fraction line when we read divided by, and then h plus 3. Now, a lot of times we would put h plus 3 in parentheses. Not so much when we got this fraction line, because since they're on two different levels, it's understood. But if I was writing it from side to side, I would have to put h plus 3 to show this quantity word. Okay, but as long as I write it up and down, I don't really need it. Write an expression for the quotient of the quantity m reduced by 3. So there's m, and I'm going to reduce it by 3, so I'm going to subtract 3, and 5. So we're showing m minus 3 divided by 5 is a different way to say that. Okay, that leads us to the exercises. I would like you to pause the video and try the exercises, and then when you're ready, you can unpause the video and check and see if you and I agree with one another. Pause now. Okay, so we're back with our exercises, and part A says 12 divided by 4. And before I do anything, I obviously want to read my directions, because that's something on our last homework assignment that I noticed that hardly any of you had done. So every time we want to be reading and we want to mark up our directions. Write each expression in 2 ways. We might want to put a number 2 there. Using the division symbol, that's the first way, and as a fraction, that's the second way. Okay, so on part A, 12 divided by 4, as a division symbol, we're going to do 12 divided by 4. And as a fraction, 12 divided by 4. For part B, 3 divided by 5 would be 3 divided by 5, and then 3 divided by 5 like a fraction. Part C, A divided by 4, A divided by 4, A divided by 4. Those were pretty easy. Part D, the quotient of 6 and m. Quotient means the answer to a division problem. So we're going to be dividing 6 divided by m, 6 divided by m. Okay, part E says 7 divided by the quantity of x plus y. So it's 7 divided by, and there's that word quantity that usually signifies parentheses, x plus y. And then to write it up and down, 7 divided by x plus y. Okay, letter F, y divided by the quantity of x minus 11. Y divided by the quantity of x minus 11. And then y divided by the quantity of x minus 11. G, the sum of the quantity. There's quantity, parentheses, h plus 3 divided by 4. And then for the fraction, h plus 3 goes on top. Then the division sign is the fraction line, 4 on the bottom. Part H, the quotient of the quantity k minus 10. So I'm going to do k minus 10 in parentheses. And then it says and m, so divided by m. And then the way I write it with the fraction line, k minus 10 goes on top, and then m on the bottom. Okay, here we are now at the problem set. So at this time you're going to stop the video unless you need to rewind and watch again if there was something you didn't understand. And you're going to go ahead and try this problem set on your own. And then you can check with my answer key and see if you've got it or not.